Hello, I'm Paul Pluta, and today we're on the Paul Pluta channel doing paid reviews. Remember, like, subscribe, and tell your fuckhead friends about my channel. Man cannot live on Google Ads alone, so please remember, look in the description for 10 ways you can keep me full-time on YouTube. Keep me full-time on YouTube means I can make content for you. Okay, hi Archie, great new vids touching on a wider area of our wonderful world of watches. I'm delighted that your acceptance of lesser brands are thoughtfully reviewed, which is a good move on your part, Archie. I'd hate to relate to you the shitters I acquired in the past, such as a Rolex Oyster Quartz Datejust. When the electronics module failed and a quote of $2,500 to fix the problem, fuck, and to say nothing of the ETAs lodged in greats like IWC. I look forward in the near future of having a chat with one of the coolest dudes around you. I hope your Patek is bringing you much deserved pleasure. Your friend Stephen. Thank you so much, Stephen. And that's a very interesting topic you have raised there, which is the problem with quartz watches. And I gotta tell you, quartz watches, they were spoofed. I remember in the 70s and 80s, well, more 80s. I was only a child in the fucking 70s. And the thinking was that the quartz could go forever because it had no moving parts. But the reality is a circuit has only a certain life, and particularly when it's in a watch with humidity and condensation and heat and all this other bullshit, it can really fuck up a circuit. And the Oyster Quartz, I know exactly. I have a good friend of mine who's a dealer who will not buy Oyster Quartz because of the costs of getting these rectified. And the Oyster Quartz was probably one of the greatest quartz watches Rolex made. It was very unique in the sense the case was unique to the Oyster Quartz. They did the Datejust, which was quite a cool piece, and they also did the Day Date, the President version of the Oyster Quartz. So you could get a Quartz President Day Date, and you could get a Datejust. Now, it's quite these were quite expensive, Rolex quality, really great pieces, and they are quite collectible. I must be honest with you and say there is a niche of collector that really does love an Oyster Quartz, and I got to admit that case they use is pretty cool. But the problem is, it's like anything. Once they stop having parts available, it becomes a real shitter to fix. And this is the problem. You can have problems with an Oyster Quartz, and what do? Where do you get a new? I mean, you don't want to just put a generic ETA quartz circuit in. It's got to be the fucking Rolex movement, you know. So it is an absolute shitter. I've interestingly enough, I've had a few pieces which quartz, you know, they can be incredibly difficult. When something goes wrong on these high-end brands, it's not just a generic quartz module. No, it's a proprietary type module. So you can really, really pay a lot. I mean, how long do they last? 20, 30 years? It depends if they get water in them, a whole number of factors. And it's very, very unfortunate. But I mean, I was an advocate for quartz until I started having problems. I had a Audemars Piguet Royal Oak two-tone that was actually a quartz, and I got it so cheap, and then had problems with the crown. I thought, oh fuck! So the only way you get those parts is to service it, and then you say to yourself, wow, after I put a service cost in, is it worth fixing? You know, because the costs, Audemars, are going to fuck you over, and what's it really worth? Then I had a Patek years ago, an ugly 70s, big rectangular. It had quartz on the dial. That's how proud Patek was of of quartz watches. And I got to tell you the truth there. That was an absolute... When I used to wear it, it would lose time. When I put it in the cabinet, it was fine. Someone else wore it, no problems. I very quickly got rid of it. I thought, fuck me dead. I don't want to be the last man standing when that fucking thing stops working. Because you could imagine the cost of fucking fixing that sort of thing, sending it to Patek. And is it worth... I mean, it's a gold case. It was a nice enough watch, but fuck me dead. I don't want to be the last man standing when that thing goes pear-shaped. But I gotta tell you, in all honesty, there, it's great. This has been a great supporter. Stephen's a great guy. He's sent me a lot of donations, small donations, big donations. Great guy, and I hope the Patek is blinging you much. It is giving me a lot of pleasure. Even though, you know, I don't always wear it, I gotta be honest with you, just having the Patek in the box, just looking at it, fuck, that's a Patek Philippe. So I do love it. I love my Patek, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So Stephen, thank you so much for support. Quartz watches, man, what can I say there? My God, they can be an absolute nightmare, particularly with these watches get older. How do you get them fixed? Omega's got so many quartz pieces, which some of the Seamasters, they've got very, you know, all these fancy features. Well, Omega has said they can service most watches except some of the quartz, and that's the reality. Once it dies, what do you do with the watch? And it's a great shame. But quartz itself there, what do I probably wouldn't collect quartz myself, but you know, the oyster quartz, that case was cool, but when you get problems with them, they really shit you off. Archie Luxury signing out on the Poor Pluta channel. Keep those paid reviews coming, fuckers. Man cannot live on Google Ads alone.